I'm also joined on the broadcast by Congressman McCormick. He is the Congressman for Georgia's 7th District. Congressman McCormick, thank you so much for speaking to us here on NDTV. We, of course, had lengthy discussions on what were some of the key takeaways for India, but for the world, how are you viewing, especially from the US, this big visit by Prime Minister Modi?
Well, first of all, it shows what important partners we are in the strategic alliance going forward. That region of the world that has 70% of the world's population, which about 70% of the world's wealth travels through those corridors, where you have huge military presences in both countries, in China, in India. Of course, you have a nuclear peer in Pakistan. Just having somebody in that region that sees the world very similarly, who has a constitution that's very similar, who has aspirations to be the third largest economy in the world in the next 5 years, someone who could be a great trading partner, someone who could buy military equipment from us, someone who can really become so close and really become allies so that we can protect each other into the future and really progress together.
Congressman McCormick, how do you think, India should be viewing? Of course, it was a good meeting. That's been the general view for everybody who has, in fact, talked to us after the bilateral as well as the joint statement that we heard from both leaders. But how do you think India should view Trump 2.0 government? We are, of course, interested, as the Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson also said, in terms of progressing naturally from the first era of the Trump government now to this one. But we've seen a more aggressive stance being taken by President Trump on many fronts, of course. So according to you, how should India be viewing the current US government and the engagements that we can have in the near future?
Sure. Well, let's talk about what's the same first. Prime Minister Modi came over here, had a big get together in Houston, and there was a huge turnout. In my district, we have about 14% of my district is made up of Indian diaspora. Huge, very important. One of the reasons that we're the top 5 district in America in wealth because of the Indian diaspora. The age-old friendship between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump is well known. They get along very well. They see the world very similarly. What has changed, though, are a couple things. First of all, Ukraine. Since the invasion of Ukraine, one of the major ways that Russia has funded this war is by selling oil to India and then them reselling it back to Europe, who, of course, that purchases all the money that Russia needs to fund this war. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi make a great agreement in which the United States will become its primary supplier of energy for both oil and gas. I think that's going to be really important into the future for stabilizing the regions and to make sure that there's no motivation to continue this war in Ukraine, funded through really not good ways, quite frankly. And I think, too, in this one, we have to make sure that the American people are seeing the same perception for all countries, that if we're being imposed tariffs, and I know that I heard the reporting earlier that it's not that big a deal. To America, it's been a big deal because for a long time, we've been on the short end of the stick. The average tariffs we place on Indian products is about 2 to 3%. The average from India is about 13 to 15%. I think President Trump just want to make sure this it's reciprocal, that it's even, that it gives us a fair and balanced trading, whether it's 0 or at 15%. We want to have it the same so we can have a true free trade society.
Right. Congressman McCormick, thank you so much for your time.